Hello, beautiful souls. It's finally happening. I am finally filming the Q&A that I promised to do. Yeah, it's still really, really new for me to record these kinds of videos. Sometimes I do videos on Instagram where I talk a little bit, but it's also not that often. But I feel like it's a really beautiful way to connect with you more, and I promise to do it, and I'm feeling excited to answer all of your questions. Also, what I wanted to say, I'm really, really, really grateful for all of you, for everyone that's watching this video right now, for everyone who's watching all of my other videos. It's still sometimes I still cannot grasp it, how many people are watching my videos, how many of you leave such kind words. It's such, I'm feeling so blessed, to wake up every day, to read your beautiful comments, to receive your love and kindness. And often I'm just thinking, oh my God, how many beautiful people exist here, on this earth. I mean, you all come from everywhere. So yeah, we'll take this moment to send my love, my gratitude, and a lot of blessings out to all of you. All right, so let's jump in. I collected some of your questions and I will go through them. So, how and when did you discover the handpan? So I remember I played electric guitar when I was around 13. I started, and I was in a band back then, and the drummer from the band, he discovered the hang back then. And he showed us this instrument, and he was like, hey, I want to apply for this instrument, and he was really intrigued. And so I remember listening to it for the first time. I think I already liked it, but the process of becoming one and getting one, not becoming, was so complicated that I didn't pursue it. And just many years later, when I started my yoga teacher training, actually, I think it was around this time, I came across the handpan. And I think I listened to it in some, in the streets where probably many of you heard it for the first time. And I was really intrigued by the sound again, and I was like, oh my God, that's the handpan. And I really can imagine myself playing it as well, because it was also around the time when I got into meditation and yoga and everything. So I was like, hey, that could be something for me, but still it took a while to get one. And at first I decided to get a rough vast, and I played it for a while. I think I got it in 2018 probably. And I already really enjoyed having an instrument where I could express myself in an intuitive way, because that's always something I really love to do, whether it was with photography or also singing or image editing, stuff like that. That was something I already enjoyed. And then a while later I met Malte Martin, probably I don't know, probably all of you know him. And I did a photo shoot for him because I worked as a photographer for a really, really long time. And he finally got me into the handpan, and the meeting with him changed so much, and it opened so many doors, and he really brought me onto my path with the handpan. And he borrowed me an instrument in the beginning, and when I started playing, I just couldn't put that instrument away anymore, and I knew, okay, this is something I really, really want to pursue. Did you start your learning process from online classes, in-person lessons, or just let the instrument teach you? So I think in the beginning I went to YouTube. I feel like there's so much great learning content out there by now. I mean, it's getting more and more and more and more. And I learned a few basics, like a couple of grooves. But also in the beginning, like with everything, also when I get something new, I don't like to read the instructions. I really love to get into things more with an open mind and not have this, I don't know, like an instruction that tells you you have to do it in this or that way, and this or that way is correct. And sometimes I just like to experiment first and find my way with it. So that's pretty much what I did in the beginning. But then, like I said, turned to some tutorials. I remember I got a course from Master the Handpan. But I don't know, like I like to practice a little bit. Like sometimes when I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know, like there's something that I find nice and I practice it for a while. Then I get bored easily and then I try to incorporate it into my playing. So I think with the handpan, I mean, with the guitar, I was more practicing, but with the handpan, I feel like I try to incorporate new things more into my playing and learn with the flow instead of sitting down and really, I don't know, practicing something in a really strict way for an hour or 2 hours. Like, I cannot. It's just really exhausting for my mind and it takes away the fun for me. But yeah, like I told you, I met Malte at some point and we had a really nice exchange. Like he started doing retreats and I came with him to the retreats and I took pictures there. So I became his photographer, and with that I went to, I don't know, like 8 retreats or something from him, and that was really, really, really nice. And I learned a lot from him, which was beautiful, because I resonate a lot with his playing style and also with his teaching style, because he's also teaching patterns and rhythms and grooves and everything, but his focus is also more on how to develop your own style of playing and how to connect with your feelings, how to express yourself, because each one of us has their own way of expressing, and having practices also in the retreats that help you connect with yourself, to really listen to yourself, listen to what is it that you actually want to express in that moment, and to learn the tools on how to do that was something that I really, really enjoyed. And yeah, so that's where I learned most. And at the same time, it's really nice to develop your own thing. I mean, it's beautiful to listen to other people. That's also what I do. Like, with some people I resonate a lot, and of course I listen to their music, and after a while I start I wouldn't say like copying elements, but trying to imitate them, but at the same time play them in my own way. And I think that's how art works. I mean, you see something, you get inspired by it, and you make your own thing out of it. So I think that's what formed my playing, and sometimes I also get inspired by specific hand movements, and it's I love this instrument, maybe you can tell. Do you play a lot? It depends, I would say. There's definitely times in my life where I play a lot, where I basically cannot put the instrument down, where I play for hours each day, when the inspiration is there. But sometimes when I don't feel inspired to express something, I sometimes just pick up the instrument and play for a couple of minutes. Then, I don't know, my playing feels rather empty and I just put it down and don't think about it much. I don't know, I just like to approach it in a more fluid way, and I don't like to turn it into something strict or try to get away from, it's always needs to be super deep, or it always needs to be something amazing, or I always need to have a super intense play session. I don't know, like it's more a teacher that shows me where I'm at in that exact moment. It shows me if I'm present. It shows me if I'm present and what is present, like if there's some specific emotions. Sometimes they only come to the surface while playing. So yeah, it depends. Is there a chord progression before you play, or is it all worked out on the handpan? It depends. I like to play with chord progressions for sure, but sometimes I also just like to stay on the bass note. I feel like, especially staying on the bass note, it brings me a lot of freedom because I don't know, you don't have this this build up or this journey where you're already going somewhere from the chord progression. And it's more like always coming back to the same note, which often makes it quite meditative. And I love meditative playing, so that's something I like to do. How do you approach playing? Do you sit down and then what? Oh, that's a good question. I feel like I sit down for different reasons. Like sometimes I just sit down because I want to have a break from my day, just grab my handpan, play some melodies, which is really nice. And sometimes I sit down because I want to express something. I want to express a feeling, an emotion, an experience, a situation, a connection I feel, a connection I have with another human, for example. So it really depends, and it also shows a lot in my playing. I feel that when I sit down because I want to have a break from my day or something, my playing can feel rather empty, sometimes even mechanical, because I'm just craving a break. But if there's really something I want to express, it can feel much deeper, and I start more with listening what it is that I'm feeling in that exact moment, and connect with it, trying to find the notes that express this feeling, trying to find a chord progression, trying to find a specific melody. How do you come up with your melodies, and how do you develop them? I play around a lot. Like sometimes it can be also nice to just turn the handpan around and to see what comes up, because you don't do your usual hand movements, for example. Sometimes I sit down and start playing like really intuitively, without thinking about anything, and then suddenly there's a melody where I'm like, whoa, what is that? I want to develop it. Like sometimes I really don't know how it happens. It's more like, I don't know, I'm really open, and there's something that I'm channeling in that moment. Really, I don't know. Sometimes I play things where I'm like, where did that come from? Especially when I sometimes do recordings and listen back on it. I'm like, okay, that's actually like I don't know, like I wasn't really thinking about the structure, like how did that happen? It's interesting. I would say sometimes, like what I already talked about, sometimes I have a specific feeling or something I want to express, and I'm consciously looking which notes resonate with what I'm feeling in that moment. So I go through all the notes on my handpan, like usually all the melody notes. I'm like, oh, that one goes in resonance. Which one can I play now? So I'm looking for another one. From that, sometimes a song develops or something more. Yeah, I think it's really about listening to yourself, listening to the instrument, listening to the sound. Sometimes I'm not only inspired by the note, by the tonality of the note, but also the sound that it makes, like the specific sound of my handpan, and sometimes even the same scale, but having a different instrument with a different material, different maker, whatever, inspires something completely new for me, because it feels different when I touch it. The sounds feel different. They have different overtones. It's amazing. That's why I love to play different instruments. If it's another scale or something, it's like every instrument inspires something new in me, which is really beautiful. Some instruments inspire a really soft playing, some you need to hit harder to get a nice note out of it. So yeah. How are your thoughts and feelings portrayed through what you are playing? Well, I don't think I need to say much about it. I think if you listen closely, not only with your ears, but with your heart and with your soul, I'm sure you can feel it. And yeah, that's probably why also so many of you go in resonance with it. It's probably because we, I don't know, like experience life in a similar way maybe, or our heart and souls crave the same thing, or we feel so much, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's beautiful. That's probably also why I feel so connected with each one of you. Even though I have no idea who you are. Sometimes I just see your username. Some of you like never share something, but it's still like you're still there. And yeah, it's beautiful. And I feel that even though we may have never talked, we share some kind of connection. And yeah, that's really, really, really nice. Do you interpret messages from your melodies? Sometimes I decipher the message only like a while after. Like sometimes I'm not even conscious of the message while I'm playing it, but sometimes when I listen back on a song or listen to it at a different point in my life, I can feel the deeper meaning in it. How do you compose? Well, in the beginning, I thought I wasn't the person for compositions because I really love the intuitive playing. But after a while, I found that I think I'm doing a mix. There's definitely some songs that I have now, like especially when I played my first concert last year in September. I didn't feel safe enough in my playing to play a whole concert just improvising. So I took a couple of my songs that I already shared on YouTube or that I have already recorded for an album. And I looked for some specific elements and tried to imitate them or to play them. And now also when I come up with something new, sometimes it's a specific melody, specific rhythm, or there's a couple of parts where I know that I am going to play them at a point in this song, but everything around it is improvised. So I would say it's still a lot more improvised, and it makes every song interpreted in a new way every time I play it. But still there's some kind of structure. Like sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But I definitely do not have any songs where I'm like, okay, this is exactly these are exactly the notes that I'm going to play. There's no way. Yeah, also memorizing all of it. I don't know. I don't feel I'm the person for this. But it's amazing. I really appreciate it when people can really do compositions, and especially playing the composition with the same intensity and with the same feeling as if it's like just coming out in that moment, because it feels so alive, and it's not something you just play down and do it mechanically, but really giving the feeling into it. It's something really, really beautiful. What inspires you the most? Oh, well, life. Yeah, really. I mean it. I think every life experience that I had, I would say, especially the times where I was suffering a lot, where I was in depression, where I felt all these intense emotions, and still feel them from time to time. I think these definitely are the times that inspire me the most, and I feel like it's the blessing and the burden for every artist, because it's definitely what gives fuel to many of us to create, because we need to move the energy, we need to express what's inside of us, because otherwise we would go mad. So yeah, what inspires me, my feelings, get inspired by the depth of my inner world, also as a highly sensitive person. I experience things deeply all the time, and it's really, 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 really beautiful. It can be quite overwhelming sometimes, it can make you feel out of place sometimes, and I think in my music I'm expressing all that. I'm expressing all the beauty I see in this world, all the yeah, I see a lot of beauty in this world. I see a lot of beauty in humans. I see a lot of beauty in animals. I see a lot of beauty in everything that's around us. And yeah, I'm feeling inspired by experiences, by situations, by places. Sometimes it's the sunshine, sometimes it's the green grass, sometimes it's a memory. Could be anything, really. Do you have rituals, methods to connect deeply to your handpan? It often feels like a companion to me. Just recently I was traveling to Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and I had my handpan with me, and it felt like a companion. So I think carrying my handpan with me everywhere I go, it's already something that feels like bonding with that instrument, and especially going through so many different emotions, expressing so many different emotions on this instrument. It's definitely something, that connects me with it. Do you count when you play the handpan, or does it happen intuitively? I do not count. It would break my brain, I'm serious. Yeah, I mean, I have already some experience, like I told you, from playing the electric guitar for, I don't know, a couple of years in my teens. So I think I was already quite used to holding a rhythm and knowing when a bar ends, knowing where the one comes back, and so it's something I think I internalized already. So it didn't feel hard for me at all to do it on the handpan as well. It's more when I try to play some new rhythms, for example 6/8 or 7/8. This is something that can mess with my brain, and then I definitely need to count. But yes, besides that, I try to internalize it as much as possible, because I don't know, like when sometimes it can be nice to be so focused on it, especially with playing a 7/8. It's really anchoring my mind, and it's such a specific rhythm, that it doesn't give me much room to think about anything else, which can be nice to anchor the mind a little bit, especially if it's floating around and you I don't know, like try to be centered again. That can be nice, but besides, I don't know, counting. Do you mostly play 440 or 433 hertz? All my instruments are in 440 hertz for the reason that I really love to play with other handpan players, and most of them play 440 hertz. Where are you from? I am from Germany. Which handpan brand do you recommend for beginners? So I personally started with the Ref Vast. I know it's not a handpan, but for me it was something that was much more easily to get without spending, I don't know, like twice the money for getting a decent sounding handpan back then. So I was really happy with my choice. I feel like the Ref Vast is also really beautiful for meditative playing. They have amazing quality. The sound is really, really beautiful. So that's something I would recommend. Then there's also the Yatao pan, which is really nice. I played a couple of them. They are also really, they also have a beautiful sound. So I can recommend looking into that. There's also possibility of getting handpans second hand. I would always make sure to see the instrument myself, or if you buy it through the internet, let the other person send you a couple of videos to a live call, something like that. Like just make sure that the person is legit, that the instrument doesn't have any mistakes. When it comes to the scale, actually, because many people recommend the D-chord, I mean, it's really nice because like so many tutorials are shown on the D-chord. But for me personally, I never really resonated with the scale so much. I mean, I started liking it more and more, especially the extended scale. But it never spoke to me so much. So what I would recommend is choosing a scale that really speaks to you and to your soul, like listening to many different scales, and then choosing the one that your soul feels most drawn to, because you want to play the instrument as often as possible. And if you have a scale that doesn't evoke something in you, maybe you don't want to play it that often. So even when some people say, oh, this scale or that scale is more difficult to learn or something, it's so, like, everyone is so unique. And for me, for example, the pygmy felt so intuitive. And on the other hand, when I played the D-chord for the first time, every time I would hit a note, I would expect another one, like a different one. And it didn't, like, it took a long time for me to finally internalize the sound. And also with my E Amara, actually, it was the same. Like in the beginning, I didn't understand the scale. But with the pygmy, the Aegean, it was really nice from the beginning, but with sound scale, it's a little bit more difficult. So I would really recommend just going with your intuition. How do you record? Which microphone, camera, and programs do you use? So, I record my audio with a Zoom H4n Pro recorder. I use it for outside, I use it for inside, I use it to record all my albums with. It works quite well for what I do. When I do indoor recordings, there can be quite some noise, which is annoying. I don't like it too much, so I'm looking for an alternative there. But outside it works really well. For the camera, I use a Nikon D850. It's a full frame camera, and I use a 35mm 1.4 lens from Sigma. I think it's a really nice lens for recording handpan videos. Also, I chose that camera because it was already available to me. Like I told you, I'm a photographer as well, so I already had that camera. That camera had a video function, so I was like, yay! Don't have to buy an extra camera, and I can start recording my YouTube videos. So that's what I did. And for the editing, for the audio editing, I use GarageBand. It is free on the MacBook, so that's why I use it. And the merging of the video and audio, I do it on Premiere Pro. It's from Adobe. It's a really, really, really nice program. I love the options for the color grading. I feel like it's quite intuitive. There's also DaVinci, which is nice for color grading. I also used it when I was studying film. But it's also really complicated and not so intuitive at all. By now, I don't know how to use it anymore, so I switched to Premiere. And it has really nice options for color grading. Which setup for crispy clear recordings on the handpan? Where do you place the microphone? I usually place the microphone on my handpan bag that I have with me when I record outside. I usually put it on the floor, just in front of me, probably half a meter away from me. Try to put it on an angle that it shows in the direction of my handpan. And yeah, the rest is done in the post processing in the post production. Yay. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope it inspired you. I hope you could take something out of this. Yeah, once again, I'm so grateful for each one of you. I'm really looking forward to record some tutorials. It's not forgotten. I have my my long list here with impulses from all of you. So I will definitely record something for the D chord, something for the Amara, something for the Pygmy. Talk more about my meditative playing, like everything you wanted to know. I'm going to speak about more in depth in some specific videos, so stay tuned. Yeah, I'm sending so much love to every one of you. Such a blessing that you're here, that we're existing at the same time on this earth, and the confirmation is there. Thank you so much for these beautiful sounds. It's just like when I went to do my handpan recordings outside. It's I don't know. Just want to film my ending. See you in the next video. Bye.